Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, the show where we discuss the latest cryptocurrency news and introduce you to the pioneers and the founders of the space. Today, I'm very kindly joined by a previous guest. He's back on here today, Daniel from BorgPad. How are you doing, Daniel? Thanks for joining.
Hey Ross, how you doing? Hello everybody. Pleasure being back. It's been a while actually. I can't remember the last time we did this. Must have been close to 6 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, even more so. So pleasure being back. Very excited to speak about some new stuff and take you guys on board.
Awesome. It's a lot has happened in this 6 months, and I know you've been super busy this week as well. But we'll touch upon that towards the end as well, because really impressive there. But Daniel, I think before we get going again, perhaps we have some new listeners that weren't in the stream last time. If you could give a bit of a background, on your journey into Web3 and how you ended up at BorgPad.
Sure, pleasure. So my journey is actually quite simple. I want to say 90% of people that are in Web3, most people come in for the greed. You tend to be lured in by some flashy promises of ROI and return and X's on returns. And then at the end, you stay for the philosophy. That's typically what happens, and that's when the journey completes. You do kind of full circle on that. So I started for the same reason. I started investing in 2017, 2 cycles ago. We then built a project for the European Central Bank, who at that time already were thinking about doing a digital euro, so CBDCs, which we thought were quite dystopian, at least in the way that they are presenting it still today, in terms of breaches on privacy, breaches on just basic human rights. So we proposed a delegated proof of stake contract protocol back in the day that at the end never worked out for governance reasons. We actually got in touch with them for a while, and then at the end commission, they decided to go otherwise. And then I came into Swissborg after that little journey and did a lot of stuff there for the last 2 years. Different products, worked very closely with Cyrus Anthony, which are probably familiar faces to you guys in the audience. And now finally, we've taken the next step in the journey with Swissborg. So BorgPad being an on-chain launch pool created by the same minds of Swissborg, based around the same token Borg, that we take as the first step into a more on-chain future for Swissborg and the plans we have after that as well. So a lot of exciting things are happening. It's happening really, really fast. And yeah.
I was going to say, has it been the calm before the storm? But it seems like you guys have really been hustling, really been working. What's it been like for you? Founding BorgPad. What's it like been setting up this company?
Well, as always, at the beginning, there's many questions. I think as any founder, the main skill and quality you must bring to the table is just being a good basketball player, in a sense that you just need to jump through hoops over and over and over again. Whether it's yourself or putting a ball through a hoop, but that's what you got to do. So there's been a lot of challenges, unexpected challenges as well. But we just keep the mission we have is noble. The team we're building around it believes in it, and that's super important. And then everything else figures itself out. So far it's been really, really cool. As you said, the summer has gone by very fast, but these are all good things.
And Daniel, why now? Where did you see the opportunity for BorgPad?
Yeah, let me give you a bit of context and to the audience of what BorgPad is, and more importantly, why we're doing it. So as you guys who know, and because you guys been in crypto as well for a while, 2 cycles ago, we're talking about 3 cycles ago, we're talking about the ICO hype, and that was the biggest growth catalyst of that cycle. For every one good ICO, there was 99 that were scams or rogues. So it got regulated to death, essentially. And since then, we've been in really good quests in terms of launching new tokens where we really got very far away from the original Web3 ethos of community building and bringing communities along the way. And so what you've seen in the last cycle is when tokens launch, they launch at stupidly high valuations because they're being prompted by VCs, market makers, and the sexes to launch at those valuations. The community is getting far too late. VCs dump on communities. So I see like the IDOs and like platform launches, exchange launches, essentially just become exit liquidity for institutional investors that came in before. And really, it's a destructive narrative and destructive practice mechanism for the whole industry. And so we almost think that, not almost, we definitely think that ICOs were a fairer way of putting new projects forward. And you need to have this velocity of new projects coming in because crypto is still very early. It goes very fast. But when that's the case, when you have new projects, we need to find a better way again of bringing the Web3 ethos back, which is community-centric from the get-go, from the bottom up. And that's what we're trying to do here with Swissborg, and now as an additional BorgPad. So instead, whilst I don't think that ICOs will ever come back because the hurdles are just too big, what we can do is emulate, at least philosophically, the ICOs, and make sure that you can get, through regulated means and terms that mitigate a lot of the risks of ICOs, get communities in really, really early. And so that's what we're doing with Swissborg. We have now different products that start from the alpha vaults, if you guys are familiar with them, but they're essentially seed, pre-seed round ways of getting into projects. It's pre-launch buying and investing into these projects. And then now with BorgPad, which is a liquidity bootstrapping protocol that happens just before TG. I can go a bit more into that, but it's a complementary journey. So now we're offering end-to-end a journey for projects to launch in a community-centric way and have communities that believe in those projects to get in as early as possible as well. So it's very exciting times. And I think we're doing something really cool for the industry here.
Amazing. You know, like you mentioned there, it seems to me that you're trying to give the investors, the retail people, that fighting chance, which perhaps was taken from launch pads back in 2021. You saw, VCs taking a lot of money out there, and it seems, what you're setting out to do with BorgPad is, give that fighting chance, give that edge to the investors again, which is great to see. And I know a lot of people are keen for that there. What do you think the impact to Swissborg will be through BorgPad?
Yeah, so I mean, as you say, first of all, that's exactly what we're trying to do. It's giving everybody fighting chance back on the retail side, because ultimately Web3, if you abstract from all the noise, what it actually is, it's an amazing tool for bringing people together. That's what Web3 does the best. It's a new way of infrastructure that breaks down all the barriers that we had previously, where people can now collaborate, whether it's financially, but also through their time, energy, attention, in different projects, communities, belief systems, and just narratives. And Web3 is an amazing infrastructure for that. It's permissionless, it's open to everybody around the world, and it's such an amazing opportunity, and it's a fair level playing ground for everybody to start from the get-go. So again, this translates into investments, and that's what we're trying to do. To answer your question, the impact it will have for Swissborg is manifold. In the best case scenario, we become through the complement. So BorgPad is a complementary product to Alpha, who completes this primary market journey. For those who don't know what primary market is, it's before token launches. That's what we call the primary market. After token launches, to make it very simple, it's the secondary market. So primary market in terms of you being able to buy it from the primary source, which is the project itself, rather than through a secondary source like an exchange, right? The ideal case scenario is that Swissborg, through our value-driven views and investments, we become kind of a source of truth and recognition on how to launch and distribute tokens into the future. And then more imminently as well, because BorgPad is accentuated around Borg, it will have a really great impact as well for the Borg token itself. To make that very short, the story, the way you can invest in BorgPad is through the Borg token only. So BorgPad, what it is, as I mentioned earlier, is a liquidity bootstrapping protocol. Make it very, very simple. Before project launches, after they raise money, after they find a product market fit, they have a really cool product, they have a community. The next job is to launch the token. Right now, they have two options. Either they go the centralized exchange way with Binance, Kraken, and so on, and pay millions to them, plus their market making fees, plus some commission on the side. It's a very dodgy world. Or they try and go the open and fair way, which is through decentralized exchanges, and that's what we offer. So in order to go for the decentralized exchange distribution strategy, you need to build a liquidity pool that people, everybody can tap into to exchange one for the other. And that happens with exactly two assets. It happens with the asset you're launching and a counterbalance asset that tethers a price to reality. That usually is done in stable coins, but we can done with any asset as long as that asset is also liquid enough. And so in our case, we're going to do that with Borg. So it's going to be we're going to build a pool, let's say, of $300,000-$500,000, whatever it is. $250,000 of that will be in that token, and we're going to raise the other $250,000 in Borg, which means that there's going to be continuous buying pressure on that token. You're then going to lock your Borg in this liquidity pool. You're going to receive half the Borg and half the other token back, plus some liquidity provision incentives, which are really good at APYs. So there's a lot of things going on. It's an indirect investment. It's a passive income strategy. And it's a really cool way to get involved in the process and supporting a token or project before it launches, getting at a better valuation, and get into a really good APY on top of that for what you do. So all of this is still very abstract, but it's all going to become very, very clear as soon as we launch and the first project are going to come along the way. So yeah, we're excited to make that happen and to bring it to light.
Nice. And I think since we were last on stream, the Borg token went for a rebrand from CHSB to Borg there. And, you've obviously added a lot of utility now to the Borg token as well with all these the extra bits, like you say, the bootstrapping, liquidity providing. What can the investors expect for Borg token? Not asking for financial advice here, but yeah, the classic buzzword there. But what can you see with the Borg token, and what maybe incentives for investors will there be in the future coming up as well?
Right. Yes. NFA. But we so the roadmap for Borg is quite clear. We're going to go more and more on chain. I think within the Swissborg ecosystem and the app for everybody who uses it, Borg is very prominent. There's a very clear adoption funnel through it. So to give you a quick reference, 1 in 3 people that onboard the app become strategic Borg holders, meaning that they have, I think, more than 1,000 Borgs at least, which is not nothing at the current price. That's still only $200, but it's a minimum threshold, meaning that at least within the app, we have a really good conversion rate from new people joining. They discover Borg, the utilities that it has in the app, the premiums, all of that, and then they convert and they hold. The next job is how do we bring that on chain and have Borg become, so to speak, a financial freedom token. That's kind of what we like to brand it, where through holding it on chain as well, you get a myriad of utilities. The participation in the BorgPad protocol is one of the first clear ones, meaning that that's your means of getting involved in these projects early, of contributing, of getting rewarded for it and putting your Borg to work. And then we have a whole DeFi team that goes and explores further how we can place Borg on chain. The idea is very simple: is we want to make Borg the most liquid asset on chain on Solana, and have 1,000 liquidity pools that are all tethered to Borg, have enormous amounts of organic volume that generates natural fees from these liquidity pools that we can then pay back as a yield, and create really a real yield and real value, real utility behind the token. It's a long way to go there, but the team is quite focused on that, and we are contributing our part with the BorgPad.
Awesome, and you mentioned Solana there, and it's easy to see the partnerships and collaborations that Swissborg has been having with Solana. I myself have become a Solana maxi. The community would say in the last year or two, and I see Swissborg at all the Solana events as well. We spoke briefly off air that you're also attending Singapore, Solana Breakpoint there. Where did the collaboration with Solana come in mind, and why are you backing Solana and Solana-based projects?
Yeah. Again, here the answer is really, really simple. And it actually comes down to simplicity itself. So today, still the Web3 user experience is absolutely terrible. Especially we had projects who recently launched an Arbitrum. If you take someone who comes into Web3 for the first time, you need to explain them, okay, you need to create a MetaMask wallet. Now you need to get some Ethereum just to pay for gas fees, but actually the token is not actually on Ethereum. It's on a side chain or layer 2 chain, which is Arbitrum. You then need gas fees for that as well. You need to import the token into your MetaMask wallet. It's a nightmare. So we focus on an investment thesis for Web3 at this point is to become adoption beyond speculation. Today, all of Web3 is pure speculation. That's even the new use cases and product market fits like Polymarket, which is doing really, really well. Yeah. It's still speculation. Okay, it's sports betting, it's political betting. So we need to find the real use cases, real business value added and user value added from the Web3 infrastructure that goes beyond that speculation. And for that, you need an infrastructure in itself that makes it really easy for user-facing, non-speculative projects to onboard users on there. And Solana is the clear winner here. It's the easiest blockchain to onboard. You don't have to worry about gas fees. Once you've got $10 of Solana on your Phantom wallet, which is the easiest wallet to use, you can be there for years. You never have to worry about it again. So there's many, many different reasons for that. We're also quite close, obviously, with the team of Solana. But we did our bet on Solana for the last year and a half, I want to say, and really paid off so far. And as much as we'd like to see Ethereum have a comeback and have a pluralistic multi-chain world at the moment, at least for retail, Solana seems to be a clear way to go to.
Like you say, a year and a half ago, Solana was $15. A lot of companies, a lot of projects were walking away from Solana, and it's nice to see that you all saw the opportunity there and have helped build to what Solana is right now and what will come in the future as well. We've mentioned working with Solana there, but is there any specific narrative or genre that you're looking at right now?
Yeah, so as I said, the whole focus is on how can we find real adoption of Web3 beyond use cases that are speculative.
Yeah.
And for that, you need to go back, I think, to first principles and primitives of Web3 and what it can bring to the world that the world needs and doesn't have today, which is basic problem solving that any startup needs to go through. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I think we're going to need, and that's more within the spectrum of AI as well, is authentication. So the way we see AI is, AI models, LLMs, they work on probabilistic models, right? So the base function of ChatGPT, Llama 3, and all these Claude, whatever, you train them on huge amounts of data, and then they recognize patterns, probabilistic patterns within that training data. And then all they essentially do, if you look at it from a word-to-word perspective, is given your input, they predict what the most likely next word is to come, and that's the prompt response they give you. It looks magical because in fact it really is. It's a black box we don't really understand. But the point is that the model itself doesn't understand what it's saying. There's no cognitive resonance on. It says, well, the sky is blue. It doesn't know why it said the sky is blue.
No.
It just knows that from the training data, the sky typically is blue, so the answer will be the sky is blue. Cool. That creates it's really cool, but it creates a lot of issues as well, because the answers that you get from these AI models are therefore not tethered to any kind of truth.
No,
they are probabilistic, but really that's when you speak about hallucinations of ChatGPT, etc. That's where they come from. So in a world tomorrow where there's increasing amounts of AI generated content, and at one point we're going to get flooded by it, and that content is going to become more and more human-like and more sophisticated, it's going to become increasingly difficult to distinguish fiction from reality. And so one of the base primitives of blockchains, and so therefore Web3, is the fact that it's an open, unmutable ledger. That's what it is. Yeah. And what a ledger does, it records truth. So almost in a way, Web3 is a perfect counterbalance for AI, where AI is like this infinite painter or poet that writes about anything and everything, and AI is like the anchor of truth that allows you to navigate those like imaginary seas and understand what's actually real and what's not. And there's a few layers on which authentication of Web3 can occur. One of it is, and one of the simplest ones is human identification, humanity layers, which is, you saw the earlier versions of WorldCoin and on all of this, which even Sam Altman recognizes the need for that clearly, even though WorldCoin is a bit dystopic. But for sure, the primitive of having human identity and proof of humanity is crucially important, because bots are going to be everywhere. These bots are going to be more and more sophisticated. So recognizing authenticated human data is going to become a new gold mine.
Agreed.
And almost in a way, Web3, if you extrapolate that further, through authenticated human data, if you take back control of that data, because Web3 allows you to not have a middleman that needs to control and sell that data, you can monetize it from the get-go, meaning that, I don't know, if you're Ross, you can prove that you are owner of CryptoSavingExpert, you have this many followers on Twitter, your wallet history says so much. All of these on-chain, off-chain credentials, they give you and your identity online a certain value. Brands might look for people like you, and they will be able to advertise to you directly and reward you directly for being able to advertise to you. That's something that Web3 very easily enables to do. And almost that becomes a sort of a meritocratic UBI that Web3 provides, which I'm a much bigger fan of than tomorrow if AI were to take all our jobs. Let's say that we all just depend on a government handout. Which doesn't seem very beneficial for society at large. So Web3 has a lot of deep-rooted implications that, in this case, go completely beyond speculation. And that's the kind of narratives that we focus on and get us really, really excited.
Yeah, and like you said, it's good to look forward. Some of these ideas like WorldCoin may seem dystopian, but there's a lot of benefits, like you mentioned there, especially in the medical industry, and just proving that it is what it says it is, and it comes down to as simple as that, really. You mentioned there. I think we'll go on to Solana ID. However, I do just have a question from the chat here. It may be not your department, but I know you're always expanding. Will Swissborg become available to use in Australia?
To be fair, I thought it was already. If it's not, I'm hoping we're going to get there soon. It's not always easy because obviously we're very compliant to regulations, and regulations change across the world. Australia is a completely different regulatory framework than Europe is, for instance. So I imagine there's some kind of compliance hurdles to get through. But yes, it obviously be very, very cool to be able to be live in Australia. I can't give you data. I have no idea. But I imagine we'll try and get there at one point, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, Bruce. Let's head over. Let me present my screen quickly. And we'll talk about the very successful, I won't call it a pre-sale, almost did, the vaults from yesterday. Solana ID. Let me just show this up here. So I believe it was you sold out $150,000 in under 30 minutes. Is that correct, Daniel?
550,000. So,
oh, wow. Yeah. Absolutely crazy, guys. 550 in less than 30 minutes. And a lot of you will know Simon from the show. He's been on the show countless times now, good friend of the channel. But yes, tell us a little bit more about Solana ID. I know a lot of people in the comments here are investors, got involved via TMG's vault as well yesterday. But $550,000, wow. Well, congratulations, man. It really shows you the demand for Solana ID. And yeah, if we can go through a few of these points here, and also jot out why you think the sale was so successful.
Yeah. So, and first of all, congrats to the team as well for making that happen. A big part of it happened due to the involvement of Simon and the whole Solana ID team. Yeah. At the end of the day, what they do is exactly what we just explained before. They are the prime example of the authentication use case that we mentioned just before. What Solana ID understood really well is how to put that into play straight away. And their initial utility and kind of go-to-market strat is to disrupt the advertising model of the internet. Right now, the way it works is Facebook, Google, or Meta, Google, all of these companies, they farm your data. They aggregate, they compile, and then make sense of the data of users and where your attention comes, and they resell that to advertisers. The take rate of these companies is close to 100%, meaning that you get nothing for all the generated, which is the classic Web2 issue that we're trying to fight against. And so Solana, clearly, the opportunity of disruption is huge because it's a multi-billion, if not close to trillion dollar business model that works all around the world, and that fuels the biggest, the top 5 companies on the S&P 500, Google, Meta, Netflix, Spotify, all these guys. And so what Solana ID does is using Web3 stack allows you to give back the power of the data to the users directly. So in the same way that Facebook, Google, they take your data, well, that same data that you generate, but in this case, you keep the ownership of it and you can monetize it yourself. So you create your Solana ID. That's exactly what we said before. It's anonymous through ZK proofs. And then their job from Solana ID is, once they start collecting user data, is to find people to sell it. And that's where they've done a really good job too. So, the famous saying is first-time founders focus on product, second-time founders focus on distribution. Identity solutions, there are going to be many of them across Web3. What's really hard is to find that network effect. There's always an easy and a hard side of network effect. In this case, the hard side is finding the people that are willing to pay for that data you get. And the amazing thing with Solana ID is that they've got Jupyter, Orca, Flashrate, all of these amazing Solana projects that are already on board, and that will use the data that you submitted. So you can also submit your Swissborg account. And the Swissborg account allows you to prove a couple of things anonymously. It allows you to prove that you're human because you need to go through KYC. It allows you to prove that you have a certain amount of wealth. It allows you to prove that you do certain amounts of transactions. You hold certain assets. All of the things that we can know about you without ever having to reveal who you actually are. But that's extremely valuable data. And companies like Drip, like BorgPad, like you see there, the logos coming through.
Yeah.
They will be dying to be able to advertise directly to the top users of Swissbook, to the guys who already have maybe the the Tencel token in their wallet. That's the kind of guys you want to get to. And so that's what Solana allows you to do. It allows you to be an offhand middleman who just simply gives you the UI and the UX to put your data together, package it, and then you can kind of decide what you put on there for what reasons, and then monetize it directly, and you get rewarded for that data. And in a sense, you can create back passive income and data monetization from the get-go. So that's the value proposition. It's very clear. It's so cool. That's very really like Solana ID, not only for the product but for the distribution strategy that they already have in place.
Awesome. And I think I know you're tight for time, Daniel. So if there's anything you'd like to add, we will head over to your Twitter page as well, guys. Make sure to follow BorgPad HQ. But Daniel, what's next for BorgPad?
Yeah. Very happy. Yeah. So I do have things to add here, and it's going to get very, very excited. So if you guys is the first time you hear about BorgPad and what we do, then please do consider having a look at our Twitter page and following us, because BorgPad really is only a first step into a much bigger vision that is going to take us into the world of AI and Web3. As I mentioned before, AI is what the world desperately wants, but Web3 is probably what the world desperately needs to counterbalance AI. And so BorgPad is an amazing product that will allow us to get projects that align with their investment values, with our philosophical values, to the light and to the public. As a complementary product to Alpha and to some other products that we're developing. So it's an end-to-end solution for early projects and allowing people to get involved with them. Then we are building a whole stack and a whole distribution model on top of BorgPad that we're going to reveal at one point, hopefully relatively soon. But it's going to get very, very excited. We firmly believe that investing at the end of the day is much more than transaction. It's much more than ROI. ROI is a natural corollary of investing in your belief system. So the kind of what we always say is money in a capitalistic world, capital and therefore money is a proxy for our energy and time, because we all spend our entire lives changing our time and our energy for money. Therefore, whether you place your money is a way to become bigger than yourself. You have 24 hours a day, but hopefully if you manage to use your time well, you might have much more money than you actually need to survive. And then you can put that money to work and create a world that you would like to live in tomorrow. That should be the base reason to invest. Because again, if, as a stupid example, if all of us were to give our money tomorrow to Elon Musk, not that he actually needs it, but let's say we would, then we'd probably be on Mars in 10 years. So there's a fair chance that we'd be much closer to it. Whereas if we all take the same money and give it to Mark Zuckerberg, 10 years down the line, the future for the world would look very, very different. So money has a direct impact on the flow of the world and where the world is going. So that's kind of the thinking that we're going to want to get back into the investor's mindset is invest first in things that you believe in, and then we will help you to find the right projects that align with that have good value proposition to actually get return on investment as well, because that's really important. But so yeah, we're gonna go down the rabbit hole of AI and Web3, find the best projects that build a world and in an AI era where hopefully we're not going to get replaced by AI, and AI is not built behind closed doors and like it is right now, but rather we're trying to go find projects that build on open AI, truly open AI, like some Solana ID integrates some kind of these elements, more projects that are going to come along this way, and that's use AI rather than to replace our humanity, kind of trying to elevate our humanity in the sense there's so many things we don't understand about ourselves yet. We don't understand why we're conscious. We have no idea what consciousness is. These are things that AI can really help us with and allows us to become more human in a way, rather than going the other way, which I feel like every time you hear AI these days, it's always guys who try and put chips in our heads like Neuralink and I'm not sure that's actually what humanity wants and needs. So we want to be a counter voice to that, create AI that's built on Web3, that is open, that is useful to everybody, and that goes a bit in a different direction. So there's many exciting things that are going to come on that side. So if you're interested in the whole AI subject, if you feel a bit of AI anxiety almost about what it means for your future, these are the answers that we'll try and answer down the line. BorgPad is now a first step to make that happen. It's an active way of being able to bring these projects forward, but there's many, many cool things that come in the coming months.
Amazing, wise words there, Daniel, and I love your broader perspective on Web3 there as well. because we should think larger than what is in front of us right now, because this is why Web3 was developed. But thank you for coming on the show today. I look forward to having you on in the future. I know you've got lots of cool new projects that you're working with as well. I look forward to delving into them and finding what they're all about as well. But thank you so much for your time today, and all the listeners right now listening in, thank you as well. If you want to find out more about BorgPad, head over to Twitter, BorgPad HQ, right there in the footer as we're going along. And if you're looking for more information, reach out to me in the Discord in CSC Plus, guys, and I will direct you over to Swissborg and BorgPad. Thank you, Daniel. Have an amazing rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.